Alright, what is up everybody? Shadow Scout 0013 here, reporting in for another unit breakdown, kind of going over two. As you can see, we're going to go over Han and Chewie. So that way, if you guys play Rebels, then you'll be able to kind of understand them a little bit better, and as to why not very many people bring them, but why they can also be fun in home games, maybe not so much in tournaments, but yeah. So I'm going to continue going over Rebels and Empire, a little bit of Shadow Collective right now, because I know I've already gone over Shadow Collective a while ago, but I'm sure if you guys want to kind of see maybe some updated stuff, I can go over more Shadow Collective, but I'm trying to get as many of the Rebel and Empire units kind of talked about and give you some ideal lists, or not ideal, but just ideas for lists. And then I was going to go into CIS and Republic and kind of give you guys some of my thoughts there at that point in time. But yeah, we're going to continue going through Rebels and stuff. First, I'll go over a little bit of housekeeping. If you are subscribed and leave a comment down below, you are entered in to win the Battle Force box giveaway. So we're giving away, or the channel, I should say, and thanks in part to the Patreon members and some of the admin on Discord, the Chosen One, we are giving away a Battle Force box, and all you have to do to become entered in to win is be a subscriber and leave a comment, and or at least be a member of the Discord channel, where it is free to come and be a member, where you can talk about any lists that you got to talk about, or if you have a tournament coming up soon, so Bruce Gear. Bruce Gear. Hi, I need list advice and tips. And feel free to post whatever you've got on here and what's going on, and just some stuff for us to kind of go off of. And what we'll do is give you some of the ideas that we've got, or if you're playing Rebels, if you're playing Empire, no matter what it is, if you've got something that you kind of want to talk about, or if you need something submitted, go ahead and head over here and feel free to just start conversation. Secondly, you can head to the Clan of Shadows, where you're going to get videos early and where you can support this channel and the giveaways in the future. So this is a great way to kind of just help expand and let me do more for this channel. So yeah, feel free to head on over there. You'll get videos early. You'll get, little extra videos that aren't on YouTube. So feel free to head on over there. And if you want to support me as well, you can head to theburnacademy.com for $15 a month. You can subscribe and download the app. You're going to have 3, 4, 5, and 6 day a week workout programs that you can go ahead and start. And then there's 30-minute torture program in case you're short on time. There's videos for each exercise and just some coaching videos to kind of give you ideas on different variations, and then 120 different recipes. Stuff to make you look like a pro in the gym. And then if you ever have any questions while you're on there, feel free to message me. I talk to guys who are on there and need help, or if you needed to record an exercise and figure out if you're doing it right, that is on there. So feel free to download that for $15 a month. Super, super easy. All right, so let's get to the reason why we're all here and talk about Han Solo and Chewbacca. So let's just take a quick look at him. So Han Solo, he's got 6 health, he's 2 courage, which is kind of low for a commander. But, the Rebels are suffering on commanders with courage 3. So you're going to need a lot of ways to reduce suppression somehow. So you're going to have to pick some units like the general, just the generic general commander right here, the Rebel officer. Or, you can give him lead by example, and I'll kind of go over the upgrades in just a little bit, but first I kind of want to keep talking about him. He surges to crit offensively, which is very nice, especially when it's Pierce 2, and then he surges to defense with the white, and then he's got Uncanny Luck to help. He does have Gunslinger, which is after you perform a ranged attack action, you can perform an additional ranged attack against a different unit. So if you can see 2 units and they're both at range 2, you can make an attack against the other one, or one and then the other. And they're 2 kind of separate dice pools. So if you did have up close and personal upgraded on the training slot, he will get 2 dodges whenever you attack, because if you're making to ranged attack actions at range 1 and 2, you get a dodge. So yeah, he's got 3 white for his melee, which is not that great, but he does urge to crit. Then he's got a commander slot, a training slot, and then a gear slot. So not very many upgrades, but it's okay. And then, like I said, he's got gunslinger. So after you perform that attack, you can perform an additional one. He's got low profile. So when you're defending, if you have cover, you can cancel an additional hit. So like I said, if you have heavy cover, you're going to be able to cancel 3 hits. If it's light cover, you're going to be able to cancel 2 hits. If someone has sharpshooter and they cancel all your cover, well, you can't use low profile. And if someone has sharpshooter while you have heavy cover, they're going to reduce it down to light cover, but you're still going to have low profile, so you can still cancel the hit from light cover and then cancel another hit from low profile. You have sharpshooter 1, so you're going to be able to do that to anyone with low profile, and or with the way that the cover rules are, you're going to really be able to at least help yourself with that pierce, because basically if you roll paint, whatever you roll, if you roll paint, you're basically going to just take somebody out. They're never going to be rolling. So he has a really amazing attack. Just the sharpshooter 1 helps. Sharpshooter 2 would be just way better. But they did upgrade him with steady, which is a huge improvement. So he's got 2 speed, or a movement 2. So you'd be able to move, and then trigger steady and target 2 people. So his range band technically is going to be expanded from steady. So that's really, really nice. It made him way more usable, at least. And then Uncanny Luck 3. So when defending, you can re-roll up to 3 defense dice. So, if you've got 4 hits that came through and you rolled 1 save, then you can re-roll up to 3 more and hopefully try to search for some surges or just regular defense blocks. So yeah, it's not bad to have 6 health. 2 courage is a little low, but he's got at least a decent thing going for him with being able to have the low profile, and Uncanny Luck makes him very defensive in a way. And then having Gunslinger and Steady with Sharpshooter 1 helps his offense. So he's, pretty well-rounded. It's just the Courage 3, I think if that was it, it'd help a lot. Now, let's look at Chewie. How about that? Chewie is going to be teamworked, or have teamwork with Han Solo. So when you're in range 1 to 2 of Han, whether you're in line of sight or not, when you or Han gains an aim or a dodge token, the other unit can gain the same type. So if Chewie takes a dodge and an aim, Han Solo will get a dodge and an aim if he's at range 1 to 2 before you even start with Han. So you're kind of loading Han up with an aim and a dodge, and then he can double move and then use that aim, and then he'll already have a dodge. So if you had situational awareness on him, then that would be a really good upgrade to kind of continue using those dodges to be a little bit more tanky, because if he's already going to be canceling, if you pretty much have heavy cover all the time and you're canceling another hit, then you're safe from hits for the most part. You're canceling up to 3, and for the most part, you're going to have at least probably 1 crit in there. So with the situational awareness and having some sort of way to have a dodge, then you're going to keep Han safe. And then with Uncanny Luck, it's going to be insane. Yeah, I'll talk about that in a minute. But, so Chewie has 9 health, which is very nice. He's got 2 courage, which is not as nice, but still not bad. He's not going to be gaining any of the suppression tokens with Guardian, so that's not going to be that bad. He does surge to crit offensively naturally, which is very nice, compared to the Republic one where I think he just surged to hit. Still 2 speed. His bowcaster is a range 1 to 3, 2 red, 2 white, impact 1, pierce 1. Very, very nice. And then with the way that he surges to crit, you're probably going to get some crits through. He's got 4 red dice with lethal 1 for melee, so you can spend an aim to make it pierce before your opponent rolls, but you can't spend that aim to re-roll if you're going to use it for lethal. He's got 2 training slots and a gear slot, and then I think he's 90 points, so he's not quite that 110. He's going to have Enrage 4, so when you have 4 or more wounds, you're going to treat your courage as if you've got nothing, so kind of like the Commander Vader, and you're going to gain charge. So you won't never have to worry about suppression. You're going to basically just take them all off. You're not going to benefit from it, but you're not going to lose any actions whatsoever. You could just move, and then use the 4 red. And then if you have the tenacity, you can have 5 red surge to crit, which is very nice. He's got Guardian 3, so he can basically take 3 hits away from Han and put him onto himself. Han will still get the suppression, Chewie won't, but he'll be able to take away those 3 hits. You can't dodge. Chewie can't use a dodge to Guardian those at all, unlike Obi-Wan, who his sorcery mastery allows him to spin that dodge while he's using Guardian. He's got Scale, and Scale has changed since then. So basically, there is no more clamoring at all. It's just climbing, and you do a speed 1, usually up to height 1. But with Scale, I think you can do that speed 1 up to height 2. So it kind of helps at least with that. So you have jump height 2, basically, or jump 2, but with a speed 1. And like I already explained, the teamwork with Han Solo. So let's look at the upgrades first, and then we'll kind of look at their command cards. How about that? So aggressive tactics. For the most part, a lot of his command cards give it to him and or Chewie. Yeah, the aggressive tactics will help Chewie defensively, but for 15 points, I'm not sure if that's necessary. And, you know, the change of plans and or notorious scoundrels, which are his 3 pips, basically you might not be using change of plans to change plans, or you might not be using change of plans to put down orders. So, all right, I'll just go ahead and go over the command cards. Why not? So sorry about the mess. It doesn't have a pip. You're going to treat it as if it's a 1 pip, but you don't have cunning on Han Solo. This just beats any kind of 1 pip and or cunning. He just outdraws and outshoots whoever, and this is really cool. It's a good card. He's got a nice set of commands. So when Han Solo is issued the order, he's going to gain an aim and a dodge, which if he's at range 1, 2 of Chewie will also gain an aim and a dodge. Now it's just giving it to Han Solo though. That's basically it. You can double move and you have an aim and a dodge, and then you still have steady that can proctor. So not bad. His 2 pip, Reckless Diversion. So it's going to give it to Han and a trooper. So you're probably going to give it to Chewie, because Chewie's at least going to be close enough. Or you could give it to one of the vets that can hopefully coordinate to a Mark II. And so this says, when an enemy unit performs an attack, it must attack a trooper unit that has a face-up order token, if able. So if a stormtrooper unit is in range 1 to 3 of Han Solo, and maybe you've got Luke Skywalker there as an operative that doesn't have a command token out, well, they can't shoot Luke if they're at range 1 to 3 of Luke. They'd have to shoot Han Solo. That's pretty cool. But if Han Solo is outside of range of the stormtroopers and Luke Skywalker is, well, they're not able to shoot Han, so they'd still be able to shoot at Luke. So you're going to have to be careful in how you use this and hope that you're giving it to a unit that is going to be in range and nearby a unit that you don't want shot like Luke. So yeah, but you're probably going to have to make sure you're in range to give that order. It's tough when you're only giving it to 1 trooper. So that's why you could have vets with the comms technician person, and it doesn't say that whoever's given an order from this card is going to benefit from this. It's just when an enemy performs an attack, a trooper unit that has a face-up order. So that's why HQ uplink would be awesome to have, and it would help this card a lot. So pretty simple. A lot of his cards are pretty simple. And then his 3-pip, Change of Plans. So when this card is revealed, you may discard it to return an opponent's command card to their hand. So you lay this down, your opponent lays it down. You see that they've laid down maybe like a 1-pip, and they really, really need to use this card. Well, you can have your opponent return that card to their hand, and then you would discard this card, and you got to return to the select command card step, and then that opponent cannot select the command card that was returned to their hand. They'd have to pick a different one, and then you would pick a different one. If you don't do that, then you can give it to Han Solo and 2 other units and keep it in play, and then they'll keep that card in play. So if you kind of mistime it, then this is an easy way to kind of just keep it and give it to Han and 2 units. Or if you just didn't plan on discarding it to return an opponent's command card to their hand, then yeah. So it's not bad. So if you are in a bind, and or if you know your opponent's going to play a card that they need to play, or you kind of force them into a corner where they have to play a specific card, then that's a good time you know that you're going to want to play it. So let's look at Chewie's cards. Chewie has one with Luke, Leia, and Han. You know, your classic episode 4, 5, and 6. Common Cause with Chewie and Luke. So this one pip, we'll give it to 2 people if you've got Luke with Chewie. So after Chewie activates, if Luke Skywalker has a face-up order token still, he can activate. And then it would practice right after Chewie. So Chewie would go, and then immediately Luke would go. After Luke Skywalker activates, if Chewie had a face-up order token, then he can activate. So you can choose which one to go with first, and then the other one will follow suit. So if Chewie had 4 wounds and has charge, Luke has charge, so you'd be able to, move with Luke and do some damage, and then you'd probably be able to move Chewie and attack the same person. And if it's operative Luke, that's 7 black dice surge to crit, and then with Chewie coming in to finish it with 4 red dice, possibly 5 if you have tenacity, surge to crit, you're finishing off probably whoever is right there. So this is a good way, if you do have Luke instead with Chewie, to kind of get really 2 actions out of back to back. Then with Leia, if you did have Leia in a list, while Leia Organa is performing a ranged attack, which is kind of short, I think she has only a range 1 to 2 gun. If Chewie is not engaged and has line of sight to the enemy and is in range 1 to 3 of the defender, you can add one of his ranged weapons to the attack pool. So basically, it's a fire support. That's all it is with Chewie. And so I'm trying to think, what would that be? Chewie's got 2 red, 2 white, and Leia would have 3 black. So you'd have 2 red, 3 black, 2 white. That's not bad. And 1 attack. But then Chewie is going to have to flip over his order token. So it's a tough one, but that's one of Chewie's cards. And then the Notorious Scoundrels. Not the podcast, which you should go listen to because they're awesome. Are they still doing that? Do they still have them? Yeah. Right? Every Tuesday, I think. Yeah, go listen to them. They're awesome. They're fantastic. But Notorious Scoundrels, Chewie's 3-pip. Chewie and Han. So you're just kind of giving it to 2 units instead of 3, but you get to choose one of Han Solo's command cards in your discard pile and return it to your hand. So if you play this one and you've already played Sorry About the Mess, you can bring Sorry About the Mess back, especially if you know Han is in a predicament that he needs to be taken out of and needs some help. Then Sorry About the Mess would be a good one to get back from the discard pile. And or Change of Plans, which would be really nice to have in your hand again when you know that you need to keep messing up your opponent's you need to mess up your opponent's command progression, I should say. All right, so that's all the command cards. So kind of now that we know they're 1-pip, now that you know that you're kind of limited on who you're giving the orders to, we'll look at some stuff here. So aggressive tactics might not be the best because for the most part, at least 3 turns, maybe 4 or so, you're just giving it to Han and or Chewie or someone maybe close who could already have some sort of surge to offense and or defense, so you might not need aggressive tactics. Commanding presence, if Chewie is far away and you plan on moving Chewie by himself, then sure, but even then, there's no need for these 2 and or these 3 with Esteemed Leader. You really don't need on Han Solo because you're probably going to have Chewie there, which has Guardian 3, and then you don't want your Core Trooper units to suffer from that either, so probably none of that first row. Improvised orders. Well, it's got Han on there, and I think that improvised orders is always a good one to have, regardless. I love it. Inspiring presence. Well, you've only got courage 2, so this is a no. Lead by example would be a yes, because you don't have any other really inspiring commanders right now if you're just going to have either Han or Chewie. So being able to take suppression off of Chewie or someone else nearby is good, especially since you're only courage 2. Strict orders, sure, that could be okay, but again, you're not giving out orders to a lot of people all the time, so you might not necessarily need that. I would probably just take lead by example. Underworld connections, well, if you plan on having Han and some bounty hunters, I would just go with a generic commander, so no underworld connections. Vigilance, that could be a really good one to have, because either Han and your Chewie with the teamwork, you're going to be getting dodges, so Vigilance could be a really good one. So really the top 3 would be improvised orders, the lead by example, and Vigilance. Those are kind of the only command cards I would ever put on Han. For training, duck and cover, sure, yeah, because he's got low profile, but you're probably going to be getting shot at a lot, and he's only got 2 courage, and he's the commander, and everyone else is relying on his courage, so I doubt you would want to take duck and cover. Maybe endurance. There could be an argument for that. Hunter, well, with gunslinger and multi-health units, sure, but there's better things, I think. Into the fray, well, he already surges offensively and defensively, and you probably don't want him necessarily too close to a bunch of melee units. Yeah, well, he just already surges. You don't need this. Offensive push. There could be a good case for that, because it would also give Chewie an aim, and or if Chewie's already gone with an aim and a dodge, given Han Solo an aim and a dodge, and then Han could move and trigger tactical to get a second dodge, which possibly would give Chewie another dodge, and then you could move again and proctor steady. Anything like that. Or you could dodge again, giving Chewie another dodge, and then move, trigger offensive push, giving yourself a second aim, and giving Chewie a second aim, but then Chewie can't really go again. Yeah, so maybe I would say sorry about the mess, but it's only still giving Han the order. So you'd give Han sorry about the mess, you'd get an aim and a dodge. Chewie would get the aim and a dodge. Then maybe you take a dodge, and then you move, trigger offensive push to give yourself another aim. So then Chewie has 2 dodges, 2 aims, and then you steady to shoot, and then maybe you use improvised orders if you didn't draw Chewie, and hopefully draw Chewie at some point who's got 2 dodges, 2 aims, and maybe he's had to use those dodges to not get shot at, and then he's got at least 2 aims, so, and if he has any wounds, he can double move. You're not going to necessarily need all those aims on Chewie unless you're shooting, but yeah. So offensive push, possibly good. Overwatch, you're probably not hopefully standbying with him very often, but I think it's a low priority. Protector would be amazing on Chewie. And I haven't talked about Chewie yet necessarily, because most of these you don't necessarily have to have on Chewie starting, except with Protector. Protector would be good because he's already got Guardian 3, so you'd be able to cancel, crit results as if they were hits. So you'd be able to cancel 3 crits off of Han. So then you wouldn't need situational awareness on Han because you've got Protector. And then you can redo that every round. You don't necessarily have to have situational on Han if you have Protector because of this, but, that's only once, and then maybe you go, and then you can recover as an action, and then maybe take a dodge or an aim for Han if he hasn't gone, and then if Han is shot at again, then maybe use Protector again and whatnot. But yeah, it just saves you from having to put situational awareness on Han. CEC initiative, that could be good. On Chewie, maybe Han, but because there's only 1 trading slot on Han, I would probably either use up close and personal and situational awareness, really. But CEC initiative, if you have more commander or operatives that you're probably going to be using, then CEC initiative would be pretty good. Situational awareness, I think, is a great one, because then it just makes him way more tanky, and with the teamwork, you're probably going to be able to get dodges from Chewie and then take dodges, or your command cards are going to give you, or your 1-pip's going to give you a dodge, so you're going to be able to make a little bit of use out of situational awareness. Tenacity would be the best on Chewie to give himself that 5th red dice surge to crit. That's just massive. Fantastic. It's what Operative Vader by himself. Operative Vader doesn't even surge to crit. And then up close personal would be amazing on Han because of Gunslinger. He'll get 2 dodges, which means Chewie will get 2 dodges if he's at range 1 to 2. So there's lots of good things. So yeah, so just a quick scenario with Sorry About the Mess. You give Han an aim and a dodge. Chewie has 1 aim, 1 dodge. Maybe you take a dodge. So now Han's got 2 dodges. Chewbacca's got 2 dodges. You move and you shoot with Gunslinger. You don't have an aim, but you're banking on those red dice. Well, you made 2 more attacks at range 1 to 2. That's 2 more dodge tokens. And hopefully you're still at range 1 to 2 of Chewie. That's 4 dodge tokens for Chewie and for yourself. Man, that's awesome. But then you can't cancel crits with those. So you're just hoping that they don't roll crits at all. That's the only issue is that, with low profile and possibly having a suppression and already being in some sort of cover, you're canceling 3 hits already. And like I said, they're probably going to be rolling crits, so you're going to mostly need crits taken out. So that's why I think situational awareness would be the best. So sorry about talking all of that so long. If you look at the gear slots real quick, Ascension cables could be okay on Han, but maybe not necessarily like the best, but still something you can use if you wanted Han to make sure he's moving. Electro binoculars, well, as a commander, you could, but also at the same time, if he takes an aim, he's giving it to Chewie, and I would rather spend Han Solo trying to do things like move and shoot and use Chewie for some help rather than as a support unit. So no electro binoculars. Emergency stims could be really good on Han because, again, he's got white die saves, he does surge, and he does have low profile, but if you had emergency stims, he'll last just a little bit longer. Environmental gear would be great because then you know that your range is going to be good, so, he can move and shoot, which means that really if someone's at speed a range 3 away from him, I think, then without having anything in the way, you're going to be able to shoot them. So, double moving, I can't quite remember the range, or how many inches I should say, you would move with a speed 2 twice, and then have that range 2 band. So probably if he's about range 4 or a little under range 4, then you're probably going to be able to double move and shoot, especially if you're not having to go down to speed 1. So environmental gear is what I'm trying to say, could be a good gear slot. Grappling hooks, sure. If he does climb, he still can use his steady, so that's not bad. And then you wouldn't have to decrease necessarily, I think, the speed. You could do that normal, I think, speed 2 and climb up to that height 1. And then same with portable scanner and electro binoculars. He's not necessarily, I'm not ever really using him as a support, more maybe Chewie as a support. So you might be able to give Chewie those, but again, very low priority on Chewie and or Han. Prepared supplies could be amazing on them, mostly because you're going to place a dodge token and then you could spend it on either one, and or you could just take it whenever and then maybe give it to the other one when they need it the most. Recon intel could be good because Han doesn't have a very far range to shoot, so recon intel could be good on both of them. Targeting scopes you don't need on both of them whatsoever. So that's kind of the overview on both of them. I came up with a few lists to talk about, 2 800-point lists and 1 skirmish, just for some examples. So you have Han with improvised order, situational, and prepared supplies so that he can cancel those crits. Chewbacca's got seize the initiative and tenacity, so that way if maybe you play Han's 1 pip and you kind of wanted to support him, you could use seize the initiative and then take an aim and a dodge with Chewie. Or if he's got 4 wounds, maybe you just aim and or charge and help Han whatever you need to do. But seize the initiative. If you needed to change it out for anything, you could. I have Leia in here with Vigilance and Improvised Orders again and Portable Scanners. So just in case you really don't have that order control and you need it, then you can have it. If not, you don't have to have Improvised Orders on her or Han. You could have it on one or the other. And if you do, you just level out the points a little bit more. So if Han Solo does go down, he's not as expensive. Then you've got the Rebel Veterans with the CM93 Trooper, the Comms Tech with HQ Uplink and Situational, which also I think goes well, again, like I was saying, with the Reckless Diversion. So when an enemy unit performs an attack, it has to attack a trooper unit that has a face-up order token. So maybe you give it to Han and Chewie to make sure they've got some sort of order, and then you use HQ Uplink on the Rebel Veterans, which hopefully, if they're in range of the Mark II, can coordinate to the Mark II. And then your opponent's going to have to attack these two guys instead of Han, Chewie, or Leia, or maybe the Wookiees, so that your Wookiees can move in. And then you've got the Rebel Trooper, 2 Rebel Trooper units with the DLT-20, so that they have range. And because again, your Rebel Veterans will have a range 1 to 4. Your 2 Rebel Troopers will have range 1 to 4. They both have a critical. Critical 2 on this one, critical 1 on these, so that you can try to benefit from a surge. And then if you have more, maybe if you wanted to take off improvised orders from one of them and give the Rebel Veterans the targeting scopes, this makes them just way better. So when you do lay the 2-pip right here, Reckless Diversion, so your enemy is forced to attack the Rebel Veterans and the Medium Blaster, at least the Rebel Veterans will start with a dodge immediately. And then you've got situational awareness. So if they have heavy cover, and then if your opponent starts to try and attack your Rebel Veterans, they can benefit from the heavy cover and then hopefully use that dodge they got from getting an order to cancel whatever crit they have, giving your Wookiee still a little bit more of a chance to move forward faster. And then the Wookiee Warriors both have the Battle Shield Wookiee to try to have that armor 1. And then you have Into the Fray, Tenacity, so that way they get the dodge or the surges for defense. They've got that extra red dice for melee, and then Recon Intel to kind of keep them in a little bit close to begin with. Then you have Coordinated Bombardment, so that you can hopefully use that first to thin out the strike teams for that high velocity and pierce. And then you have Sorry About the Mess. You have No Time for Sorrows to try and give it to the Wookiees. Now, here's another thing. If you were able to recover the HQ uplink, or if you used whichever one first, No Time for Sorrows or Reckless Diversion, No Time for Sorrows just briefly says, when a friendly trooper unit is issued an order, it can perform a speed 1 move. So HQ uplink will give the veterans, and if you're in range of the medium 2, this will get an order. They can also do that speed 1 move, and you could have just given it to the Wookiees, which will also do a speed 1 move. So you've got 4 units that can do that. And maybe if you were doing hostage exchange, you could, again, use the Wookiee Warriors to get the order, and hopefully you moved the Rebel Veterans at that range 1, basically, of the Mark II. Use HQ uplink and hopefully give your hostage unit, which I would use the Mark II as, and let them do the free speed 1 move because they would have gotten an order. So that's just, a quick little thing if that's a scenario. But boom, that's it. Yeah, then, Leia save our skins. After Leia activates, maybe she gives out dodges to everybody. But then maybe if you were in range of the Wookiee Warriors, you could have just given an order to the Wookiee Warriors. And if you are afraid that you are going to keep Leia kind of in the back, then what I would have done is, instead of improvised orders, I'd go with commanding presence, so you can give out those orders to everyone and then keep Han with improvised orders. So that way you can make sure that if the Wookiee Warriors get too far ahead of Leia, she still has the range to be able to give them the 2-pip, and or somebody has to save our skins where she can go and give out the dodges to the Rebel Veteran and or Han and Chewie so that they get 2 dodges each. Well, you have also got portable scanners, so 3 dodges. So you could probably give one to the vets, and then maybe one to Han and one to Chewie, who would also share. So that would just double that up. And then you've given your Wookiees an order, so now they can go immediately and move, charge. There's so much you could do with that. But yeah, this will hopefully get your Wookiees in faster with no time for sorrows, and somebody has to save our skins, while you have a strong backfield and or people trying to come up and take on Force users. So that's it. That's 9 activations, 800 points. We'll go to the second one, which is 10 activations, 799, with Din instead, as kind of like a main melee person. I have improvised orders and up close and personal, so we can gain those multiple dodges when he makes a shot. I've got Chewie with Protector so that he can cancel those crits for Han instead of having to use situational awareness, and then Tenacity again to make sure that he scores that 5th red dice for melee. I've got Din with up close and personal situational awareness, so that way he can make the most with those dodges. And then he's got the jetpack, he's got the flame projector to make the most out of Arsenal 2, and then the Beskar spear because he's probably going to be going up against a Force user. And the reason I have up close and personal instead of tenacity on there is because if you do use Din's cards, you're probably going to be wanting to move and shoot somehow. Anytime he moves, obviously he gets an aim, and then you could use that aim for a long shot at range 1 to 3. And then after he gets close enough to be able to use up close and personal, maybe you were able to move into that range 2, and instead of using the aim for long shot, use it for lethal, and then you gain a dodge from that. And then he's got Arsenal 2, so maybe if he's surrounded, how you could get, 2 dodges from his 2-pip is he has to make, and I know I'm going off a tangent with Din, I know we've already talked about him, but with I like those odds, he's going to get an aim, and after Din performs an attack, he can perform an additional attack against a different unit. So that's a way to get multiple dodges. So his pistol has versatile. So you could technically melee a core or special forces unit that you're in with the Beskar spear. And since you have Arsenal 2, you could shoot out of melee with your gun because it's also versatile. So with the versatile and with the Arsenal 2 is what I'm talking about, combining them, you can gain that dodge. And then you could shoot another unit other than the one you shot to gain a second dodge. Or if you really wanted, you could combine, so maybe you're in a group of 4 and you combine the Beskar spear with the flame projector, make sure that you're completely out of melee, and then here we go. So you would use the knife and the Beskar spear to attack the person that you're in melee with, and then you could use the flame projector at range 1 of another unit and his pistol to shoot at another unit, and then that would give you a dodge. But, if you wanted to shoot out of melee, I know I'm laboring over here. Sorry, just bear with me. You're in melee, you attack them, and with Arsenal, you attack another one, and then you gain a dodge, and then you can make it another attack against someone else. You shoot them, you gain a second dodge while you're still stuck in melee. So you're protected, and you've got 2 dodges, and you've worn down your opponent. So Din can do a lot with that card. That's all I was trying to get to. I'm sorry that took so long. My bad. Then you have Rebel Officer to make sure you have some sort of Inspire and Portable Scanner. You've got 2 regular Rebel Troopers with the DLT-20A to make sure you have range 4. You've got a Medical Droid mostly for Chewie with the Protector. And then you've got the Rebel Veterans, again, with the Comms Tech, Recon Intel HQ uplink, so that way you can, again, utilize the Reckless Diversion. And then you've got 2 strike teams that also have low-profile courage, too. And, yeah, that is a 10-act unit with Bounty, and you gotta love that. That's always a plus. And with Improvised Orders, that kind of helps as well. And then you've got 2 Commander, 2 Op, 2 Strike, 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 2 So that just is good. You have a higher chance of drawing the operative when you need it, or if you do, you at least have improvised orders to change it. Yeah. And then we have a skirmish list. 6 activations, 497. You have Han with lead by example and up close and personal. You have Chewie with protector and tenacity. You've got the rebel veterans with rebel officer and the CMO 93, and then you've got the medium blaster with 2 full units of commandos with the sniper. So that way you've got a ton of firepower and you've got a lot of pierce. So 6 activations. Every one of your units are courage 2. You've got Han courage 2, Chewie courage 2, veterans courage 2 with the rebel officer, Mark II's courage 2, and both rebels commandos are courage 2. So at least you don't have to worry about suppression whatsoever. And so technically then you could just go with improvised orders, but people are going to wind up keeping their suppression even though they're courage 2. You want to find a way to try to get rid of it somehow without having to recover. So you can change it if you want to. I'll leave a description, or I'll leave a link to these lists in case you wanted to either try it or you want to change it or whatever. It's just kind of up to you. But that's it for today. That is all that I kind of wanted to go over with Han and Chewie. They're units that are in the Rebels, and that's technically really all I have to say because they're okay. They're not the best. Obviously, there's better units to use, and you're probably not going to see these again at a major tournament, but they're fun to play with because those command cards can kind of wreak havoc on your opponent, especially with the change of plans and then being able to bring back either Reckless Diversion or Sorry About the Mess with the Notorious Scoundrels. And yeah. But all right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you haven't, make sure that you head to the Discord and you come on over here to join up and come on in. Go ahead and head to the Clan of Shadows Patreon and become a Patreon for supporting just future giveaways. And then to support just me, you can go to theburnacademy.com and subscribe for $15 a month. Download the app and have all of this. Cancel anytime you want to. Just let me know. But yeah, that is it. And make sure that you are subscribed and leave a comment and or a Patreon member or Discord member to have an entry into the Battle Force giveaway box. All right, guys, I will want to shout out, the awesome guys who are supporting this channel and everything that they do, Kitsune, Anthony, and Tyson. Thank you guys so much, and especially Anthony for helping with this giveaway and with really doing everything he can to support this channel. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out one of the Shadow Command episodes we did, episode 1, that talks a lot about just the Discord channel and where we want to go with it and our favorite units, just to kind of meet us and the admins. All right, guys, I will catch you later. May the Force be with you.